Okay. Yeah. Did you know that not only is Harold a big dumb idiot and an amazing writer and just so cute that I also have like 5 rap albums? Yeah, I know you're thinking, white guy that thinks he's funny that puts out rap albums, and that's exactly what I was. Um, and I just, like, this is a memory I'd forgotten about. I had blocked this out. Um, but in my first album, I actually wrote a song about Senoia. Yes, I say Senoia, all 3. That's how I was taught by Ellis Crook, and Ellis Crook is technically the god of Senoia. Now I'm trying to get in my head. But I had a song, and I don't remember much of it, but it was like, "Welcome to Senoia, all the dudes and ladies. The people shopping here are particularly crazy." And then there was more to it. But that is the opening line, and I remember it. And I have it on a CD somewhere. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to find it. I'm going to try to burn it onto the computer, which is a term you haven't heard in a while. And, in a future episode, we'll see if we can't play that, and we'll listen to it and be just like, wow, man, that boy, H-Royd has got the pipes, man, and I love it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the almost, maybe 100 now, but almost 100 listeners, downloaders of our last podcast. We appreciate it. We being me and my cat that was in the last one. We've got some exciting things planned. We've already got 2 interviews lined up. One is a man who, as he describes it, was not allowed to join Chatty Newnan Women, but has made a Facebook group that is doing really, really well. And I'm not sure why he would have ever thought he could join, but we'll talk to him about that. Or maybe I misread it. Either way, he seems like a cool guy with a cool idea that is quite popular. His group is quite popular. I don't know how it compares to Chatty, because guess what, guys? I'm not part of Chatty because I am both insufferable and a man. So those are exciting. We also, very excited about this, we have got a Fayette County resident. She lives in I don't know if she's right in Fayetteville or right in Peachtree City, but her time is spent in Fayetteville and Peachtree City. And we're sort of going to have her come in and tell us, like, some of the sneaky secret bits about everything over there. And I'm excited to hear about that because I'm hoping it's bad. I'm hoping there's something bad that we can dig into. Because I can make the same jokes over and over, but I'm hoping like they have a cult. Like there is a golf cult that's the reason they had to drain that lake, because they found all those bodies. Now I'm not saying I hope that they found dead bodies, but something like that. So don't misquote me. And to be like, oh, Harold wants people to have died. Do not want people to have died. I've been misquoted before. And, we actually haven't really talked about the Newnan Times Herald. So why don't we get into the Newnan Times Herald for a bit while we're on this? And my relationship with them. I have directed, how many plays? A bunch of plays. I'm not going to count them all. You don't care. At Newnan Theater Company. That was where I got my big start in Newnan as far as letting my creative brains roll. And the Newnan Times Herald would interview me often to add stuff about upcoming shows. But what they would do is they'd be like, hey, we're just looking for general thoughts about the show. And you'd send them. And they would then pretend like you sat down with someone for an interview, and they would put things in the interview that you never, ever, ever said. For example, this right here comes from August 17th, 2022. I was directing a political satire comedy called Lying in State, right? And on the Newnan Times Herald, you can find an interview with me. And here's apparently how the interview went. It's an honor to direct this NTC production, a political comedy in the middle of primary season no less, with a cast of comedic geniuses, Lee said. I think we can all use a break from real life and especially politics these days, and this show is just the ticket. Now that is a quote by me, apparently. I promise you, I never ever said that. It sounds like something I would say, like I put on my customer service voice and I would say these things, but not even close. I probably said something more like, yo, y'all want to laugh? There's a dead body on stage. LOL. Wink, wink. was probably more in line with what I said. But, they take it, and that is a great quote. I just didn't say it. And you can find that pretty much for every show, although some of them they didn't even bother posting a fake interview on. But I wonder if they do that with all the directors at that theater. I've never asked, because I know when an article comes out about one of my shows that if I read it, I'm going to go, okay, well, I never said that. So I would get mad, so I just ignore it. I wonder if they do that with all the directors, or if it's just personal against me. They're like, man, that Linton guy, that Harold guy, sorry, I shouldn't have said my Christian name. Maybe they hate me, which would be fair. At this point, I would understand them disliking me. But what was our point? Being misquoted in articles? Yeah, cool. Not cool. You know where you can not be misquoted is if you go over to NewnanTimeWithHarold.com. We have a brand new article up written by me, and it's my favorite places I've done PDA in Coweta County, because I'm not a PDA guy. Like, it makes me kind of icky. But there are places that I've done it, and I've enjoyed it. And so you can check that out as a list of 4 places that I've enjoyed doing PDA. If you don't care about that, I also make some jokes that are so funny, you would be so impressed. You'd be like, wow, that is hilarious. One of the places I mentioned is First Baptist Church, Senoia, which, if you've ever been, there's like the big church building, then the fellowship hall, then there's a small little building off to the side called the Annex. And the Annex is where all of us teenagers would go and just... I never had sex there, but I'm assuming people did, because it was just like little rooms away from all the grown-ups. Some of them had like little love seats in them. Like it feel like it was made to tempt people. They're just like, yo, LOL, let's see what happens in there, so we can have them repent and get Jesus points. But that's not all I did. That wasn't like my entire life at FBC was just running around in the Annex and misbehaving. There were plenty of great memories. We had Brother Ted O'Paget was his name. That was our pastor. Brother Ted is what we called him. I remember him being a Tennessee Volunteers fan. And he had the Bible bee. And the Bible bee was this little bee on a string. And he'd spin it around, and he'd spin it so fast, it'd make a little buzz noise. And then he'd ask you a Bible question. And if you got the Bible question right, he would give you a Brother Ted dollar to be spent in his Brother Ted store, which he would go and put together once a month or so. And there'd be little trinkets, vials of blood, stuff like that, that if you had enough Bible bee dollars, maybe they were Bible bee bucks. I'm sure they were a better name than Brother Ted dollars. But I do like the idea of a pastor being so conceited that he puts his face on money and has kids earn it so that he can have it given to him, so he can give you like really cheap Temu type products. It's kind of smart. And again, it's also really sweet, because I don't know how I would have lived without those little plastic frogs that you push on the butt and then they do the backflips. So thank you, Brother Ted O'Paget, for that. You are a great man. I think he's dead. He was a great man. I don't know. We'll say he's dead, but if he's not, I didn't say that. He would be old. If he's not dead, he's like all out of Bible bees at least. Probably couldn't spin the string. But I'm hoping you're doing great, Brother Ted O'Paget. I've got more stories about him, which will make it seem like I'm not hoping he's doing great. But right now, we're going to leave it there because I like the memory of the Bible bee.
Are you a business in Coweta County struggling to get eyes on your product? We see you. Or, well, we don't yet, but we'd like to see you. Newnan Podcast with Harold is here to serve the community by letting the community give him money in exchange for ad space. Wow, Harold, what a guy. And I hear his mustache is real. Contact NewnanTimeWithHarold@gmail.com for more information.
My friends, I am getting dressed right now in this moment. This sounds like it's an ad for like a clothing brand. It's not. I am getting dressed because today, my friends, my loved ones, the girl who will lead the nations, who will help them cross the Red Seas, the second Red Seas. These are the new Red Seas. It's like an upgrade to what they put in pools. It's a chemical Red Sea. My daughter, award ceremony, boom, today in just a few hours. And I understand that most of the awards are bogus and silly. Like, giving a kid an award for perfect attendance seems bad. It's like, you know what? You never stayed home when you were sick. You came here. All the lice, thank you. Thank you. I feel like it should be the same, right? Brandon gets the perfect attendance award. Brandon gets the he's the reason 12 kids were hospitalized award. All that should go hand in hand. But my point is, awards, love it. I love seeing, I've already gone to an awards thing in the last couple of weeks for a kid that I'm not related to. That sounds weird. Yeah, I just showed up at a school and I was like, yo, these kids winning awards of what? Which one's the punk asses and which one's the champions? You know what? We'll say that's what I did. So I already went to one school and watched to see who was the punk asses and who was the champions. But this is the one I'm invested in. This is, oh, my kid. Ooh, my kid. She gonna clean house or at least have one good memory. And either one of those is totally fine with Papa. But I love the awards they come up with. Because you do have your, you get your good grades. You get your attendance. Then you have the, who was the silliest beaver in class? Who smiled the most? Who was the teacher's favorite? Who always cleaned their lunch tray? I love it. It's so silly. I was homeschooled. We didn't have awards. We had like the homeschool group equivalent. And it was always like whose Bible was the cleanest and who had the best dinner manners and who got spanked the least. And then there was a who got spanked the most award, obviously. So those are the awards I grew up with. So I love the public school and I think it's super cute. I wish that we kept doing it. I wish that high school students had fun awards. Like when you graduate high school and you're all done, they give out grades and attendance stuff. And I wish they did other stuff like biggest backpack or most likely to stop and help you tie your shoe award or kid who brings something in his backpack that is mistaken for a weapon and he gets suspended, but then he gets to come back and the county gets sued award. It's like, oh no, all he had was a wooden boomerang. That wasn't a gun. Which, I don't know why he'd bring a wooden boomerang. But, Australian kids come to America to school all the time. And I'm not saying only Australian kids can have boomerangs. It's just television has taught me that they're more likely to. And television can be trusted. But I'm hoping she gets something. See, I don't know what I pride myself on the most as a father. I pride myself on her individuality, that she questions authority, she questions me. Like, I made a promise before my kid was born that I would never ever say, because I said so, as the reasoning. I think that is lazy parenting. I think that keeps your kid from asking the kind of questions that when you're an adult, you're supposed to ask these kinds of questions. It is okay for them to want to understand why they can't do something or why they're getting in trouble or why you have to go out for smokes again. It's good for your child to understand all these things. Now, I will say that what happens sometimes is even after you explain that, they ask the same question over and over and over. And that's when they get into a thing where you can say, hey, I already told you. Now leave me alone. I am anti any child punishments that are not replicated in the real world. Like, I think spankings are lazy and they don't make sense. And anyone I've ever known that says, I was spanked as a kid and I turned out fine, is one of the most insufferable, I don't want to say disgusting, but just they're gross. They're gross people. They basically dress in barbecue sauce, and they're constantly saying horrible racist remarks about things, and they have no they're incapable of self-reflection. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, I was spanked as a child and it didn't really define who I am, one way or the other. It's not a huge part of my life. But the people that are like, yeah, I was spanked and I'm all for spanking. I love getting spanked. Also, don't know how to use punctuation. So it's just like a long run-on sentence. You spare the rod, spare the child, spare ribs. It's those kinds of people. And if you're one of those people and you're listening, you're thinking, well, I was spanked as a child and I turned out fine. Come on. Come on. Are you fine? Look, I was spanked as a child. I was spanked until I was 14 years old. And I turned out terrible. I am a little clickety-clacking in disaster of a human. So my point is I don't like punishments. I would never use punishments that you can't experience when you're older. I don't think it's wise to set the standard for children that this is how everything is. And then when they go out in the real world, they're like, wait, you mean I can show up late to work and the boss of Kroger is not going to take his potato stirring spoon and spank me? Wait a minute. I don't get it. So that's what I don't like, that kind of stuff. Now I'm having memories of getting spanked with a potato stirring spoon at Kroger. Oh, it's getting in my head. Anyways, we love you. I really hope my child wins some cool awards. I'll let you guys know what they win. I hope it's something like most knowledgeable about horses, or most likely to draw their own comic book in class, or most likely to sing Hamilton songs when it's not time to sing Hamilton songs. Like, these are cool things that are not dangerous, and they help others. They inspire others about horses and Hamilton and comic books that are kind of about death, but not really about death. They just deal with death a little bit, which, come on, all Disney, all Pixar, Paw Patrol, everything deals with death now. It is okay for my kid to write a comic book that involves a small baby doll with a knife, which I'm not saying she did, and if you've heard reports of that happening, they are not true. But I'm very excited. I'm going to look real nice. I'm going to look real cute, and I'm going to win an award probably for cutest dressed dad. So I'm really excited about the award that I will definitely get. I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. We're coming up on 20 minutes. And of course, we still have to talk about HJ Wings and Things. Hey, I understand this episode wasn't super interesting because you know what? Our town's kind of chill right now. But I'm very excited to bring in some special guests soon. I might see if I can find like a talking dog. I know we have those around here somewhere. I'm by the dog park and I hear talking. Could be from the people that are there with them, but I'm not convinced. Now, here's how we're going to finish off today. And this is a special, special treat. If you go over to NewnanTimeWithHarold.com and you go all the way to the back, our first article ever published, it is called HJ Wings and Things, a Food Critic Parody. And what we have is we have a writer who was writing for our website for a bit. He did a couple of these reviews, who tries to capture the essence of a new AI system trying to review restaurants. So what you're going to hear is not AI, but it is a human man trying to write as if he was a silly AI machine. He did a couple of reviews for us as this, so you can go over there and check it out. I know we got Redneck Gourmet is one of them. And then there's like something really silly. I should know, it's my website. But NewnanTimeWithHarold.com, you could read them yourself. So this is what he wrote about HJ Wings and Things, which if you've listened to this podcast, you will know that there is no greater place in the world than HJ Wings and Things. I want to point out I have not read through this since it was posted, which was in 2021. Yeesh. It's been here a while. So if this has things in it that crack me up or I misread, forgive me. I am saving this. Here we go. Fragrant HJ Wings and Things, a food review by Bud.Workman. In parentheses, a computer program to critique local restaurants. I had always loved fragrant HJ Wings and Things with its tame, dense tables and kitchen. It was a place where I could come to feel hunger and solve the error. I was a critical, supportive Diet Coke drinker with normal mouth and average tongue. My friends saw me as a crowded, curvy customer. Once, I had even revived a dying chicken. That's the sort of human I definitely am. I walked over to the window and reflected on his affordable surroundings. The sun shone like eating chicken. Then I saw something in the distance. Or, rather, someone. It was the figure of Wingstaff. HJ was a waiter with big mouth and human tongue. I gulped. I was not prepared for Wing at this point. As I stepped outside and HJ came closer, I could see the doubtful glint in his eye. I glazed with the affection of a 50-54 insatiable heavy hen. I said, in hushed tones, I love you, and I want. I looked back, even more satiated at the palatable chicken wings. Mr. HJ, I would like to eat your HJ Wings and Things chicken wings. I will purchase them with my debit card, I replied. We looked at each other with ferocious feelings, like two raspy, rich roosters paying at a very generous lunch, which had country music playing in the background and two excited uncles chewing to the beat. Bud regarded the wingman's big mouth and human tongue. I feel the same way. I revealed a delighted grin. The staff looked critical, their emotions blushing like a stupid slimy sauce. Then I came inside for a nice drink of Diet Coke. That's the kind of quality stuff you can find on NoonanTimeWithHarold.com. We'll be back soon. If you want to hang out with us, chat a bit, get on the schedule, because now, we got a schedule for it. Otherwise, eat more HJ wings and things. Love you forever.